I think we can all agree that watching TV, whether it be with family or friends, perhaps even alone, has been a huge part of our lives. Whether you tune in every single week to watch the new episode of your favorite show, or if you only ever turn on your television during Ramadan, there is no doubt that you've watched a show or two on channels like MBC4 or MBC Drama or even via online streaming. They hold dearly to your heart. But it hasn't always been like this. Believe it or not, experiencing content of any kind was not always a few remote clicks away. So, the question asks itself, where did Arabic entertainment, as a whole, come from? Arabs have always been a great source of art. That's no secret. Today, I'm talking about a specific kind of art, the art of cinema and theater. There is no specific description of Arab cinema because it includes films from various countries and cultures of the Arab world. Therefore, it does not have one single form, structure, style, or meaning, and I think that's what makes it so unique. Originally, Arabic cinema was mostly an imitation of Western cinema. However, it has and continues to constantly change and evolve. The art of Arabic theater in of itself is a constantly changing and evolving industry. Known for its romantic, patriotic, or comedic themes, Western cinema greatly affected its Arabic counterpart in what their films are about. And although Western media had existed long before that, cinema in the Middle East was only first publicized around the 20th century. Slowly, though unsteadily, the medium began to spread throughout the Arab world. Some countries were not very accepting of film for a long time, but the history of Arab film, despite its delayed onset, was extremely rich and diverse. And when something is that revolutionary, resistance is practically futile. Film has also always been a strong tool of expression and resistance in many cultures, not just Arab ones. If a filmmaker has an opinion, you can bet that they would incorporate their perspective into their creation. And although I tried to make this video as diverse as possible with its examples, this video was originally about Jordan, where I'm from. Compared to its cinematic pioneers and neighbors, Lebanon and Egypt, Jordan was a little late to the party, its first film being released in the 1950s, only a few years after their liberation from Britain. The first film to be recorded, directed, produced, and acted out by Jordanians with the help from Palestinians is called Struggle in Jarash. To this day, this amateur film is used as a reference to how Jordan and Palestine were in the 50s. And although this film was a romantic one, it also not so surprisingly tried introducing the idea of Jordanian nationalism and patriotism. Sadly, a copy of this film was hard to find, and in order to oblige with the copyright laws, the Jordanian directors that found a VHS tape of the movie had to record their voices over the original, which meant I couldn't find a copy of the film with its original audio. Luckily though, I did find a transcript of the film, and the scene where patriotism is advertised is where Maria, the love interest, says, "As long as I am by you, I feel like I am home." Then, the main character, Atif, replies, "You are truly home." And then Maria replies, "It's true, I was born in Jordan." It probably sounds more patriotic in Arabic, but I guess I'll never know. Today, cinema in the Middle East has gained the tarnished reputation of being overly dramatic and blandly comedic. And yes, that's what most people expect when they turn on their televisions every day after work. But personally, I find those opinions extremely biased and unjust. The history of Arabic theater is so extremely rich and diverse, but is often overshadowed by the West and their potent portrayal of Arabs as comic relief characters with thick accents and extreme views. The best possible example I can give of this is Disney's Aladdin. Although the setting of both adaptations isn't straightforwardly Arabic, A large part of the movie's audience could deduce that the film was set in some place foreign and ethnic. A person who'd never met an Arab would expect us to live in deserts and ride mystical magic carpets. What I find absolutely hilarious is the fact that when the first Aladdin was made, the Middle East was relatively modernized and industrialized. We rode cars, not magic carpets and camels. We lived in homes, not tents. While doing research for this project, I learned how wonderful some of these films truly are. Considering how most of the filmmakers and actors involved in the process of making these were underpaid and amateur, it's pretty amazing. These movies, or at least most of them, have meaning. Blood, sweat, tears, and passion went into making them, and I don't think we should undermine that. We now live in a time where an Egyptian puppet and a state-of-the-art Chinese AI robot can have a full-fledged conversation live on TV in front of thousands of people. We've gotten to that point. And yes, these days, we probably spend most of our time watching cheesy soap operas that are 20 seasons long, or dubbed Turkish shows that all seem to have the exact same plot. Maybe even some Japanese anime. I'll admit, I'd probably rather binge an anime than turn on my television these days, but I don't think we should forget our roots, what got us here in the first place. I believe that we as Arabs have lots of cinematic potential. There are lots of talented people who've done amazing things in the past, and I think that people will continue to do the same well into the future.